Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, Indiana man, who's leading the Boston Celtics, formerly as their coach, now president of operations. Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Stevens.
Yeah. Hey, guys.
Coach,
how we doing?
Coach, people still call you coach or no?
They do. And then they usually say afterwards, I don't know why I still call you coach.
Well, that's because once a coach, always a coach. Yep. And I think
that's right.
I think that's a compliment more so than anything. And we saw, Zionsville High School photo of you the other day on the internet. You've always had so much swagger that the world could not handle it. Let's talk about your life right now. You obviously go from coach to front office. And that's been something I assume you've had to talk about at length or ad nauseum. For me, as a guy that was in Indiana whenever you were in your run at Butler, and how much all these people love you in Indiana and how much respect everybody has for your basketball brain, watching you leave the sidelines to go up to the front office, I didn't fully understand it. Now, obviously, it's like the greatest decision any person's made in sports at this point. But when you make the transition from coach to executive, was there nerves? Were you ready for it? I think there's been numerous people that have said, like, you were ready for it, but did you know that all this was coming? And that's like such a crazy question, but was there nerves? Did you expect this? And how has it gone since the transition has taken place versus what you thought it was going to be?
No, I mean, yeah, there were nerves because it's totally different, right? You spend 21 years coaching, and that's kind of what you build up, your knowledge base in, and that's the old rule of 10,000 hours. Coaches get to that pretty quick with how many hours you put in. But I really love to build team. I really like to fit pieces together. We had an amazing staff in the front office that I knew could help me get better at understanding the intricacies and the nuances of, the cap and the CBA and understanding all the different decisions that you have to make along the way. But I felt like I had a good base of knowledge about our basketball team and specifically our best players and what would complement them. And hopefully we could put the right pieces around and just continue to be sustainably good. I don't think you ever, you always want to win championships. You always want to be in the mix for that. And that's what we've tried to do. And we also recognize how much good fortune you have to actually do it. Right. And so it's been fun. Plus my calendar's a little bit more open up, Pat, during the year. Like I didn't miss very many of my son's high school games. My golf game's gotten better. I've been to a lot of my daughter's soccer games, and, coaches, as much as we try to be present, we miss a lot. And so it's been the best of both worlds for me.
Well, I'm happy to hear the golf game's gotten better. Happy to chance to hang out with your kids and not have to be fully immersed in basketball and how do we get better all the time and what play sets should we run? What is this team going to do? What did you see in Joe Mazzulla? Okay, because I went to school at West Virginia at the same time as Joe. Joe was known as an incredibly cerebral, smart guy. Everybody loved him on the basketball team. And obviously his jump, and the youngest coach to make the finals since 1969 or something like that. What did you see in Joe? And does Joe ask you questions? I saw Pep was there. I think he tried to pick Pep's brain, who's the Manchester City. Manchester City coach. Does he talk to you? Do you chat with Joe? And how is your relationship coach to coach, seemingly?
Well, I love Joe. I hired him as an assistant long ago, and he's been an assistant here prior to being the head coach under unique circumstances last year, and I thought he did an amazing job last year, and he backed it up with an even better job this year, and that's to be expected. We're supposed to improve as time goes on, especially when you have kind of the growth mindset that Joe has. Joe is an incredible leader. He knows the game. He makes good decisions in the game on both ends of the floor. But I think his impact goes way beyond that. He's amazing in the locker room. He's amazing with the guys. He's not afraid to challenge people. And he has the stamina to work. And, that coaching thing, when you're talking about 200 some odd days or 250 some odd days in a season, we started September 28th. The coaching brain never kicks off, right? And so to end in June 17th and to be on that whole time and to have that kind of stamina and that kind of work ethic is real. And he's got it. His motor is always going. He's done a great job of creating a network of people like Pep in sports that he likes outside of basketball that I think he really, really tries to learn from. You never worry 1 minute about Joe Mazzulla feeling like he's got it all figured out. He's always trying to learn, grow, get better, and he brings a great energy to the building, and we're lucky he's here.
Yeah, there was a story that came out about him winning Coach of the Month or whatever, and nobody cares. And they just kept walking by. It's like
like that.
Yeah, that like humility is something that all coaches have to have. And you talk about 200 and some odd days. That's not just like at work. That's like on road.
Oh yeah,
travel. That's like go ahead.
Yeah, and always thinking about it. Like, it never leaves your mind, right? Like, even when you're trying to disassociate and get, hang out and go to dinner or whatever the case may be with your family, or be at a kid's game, you're always thinking about the team, because you're just trying to figure out how to get the pieces all to work together as well as humanly possible. It's a big difference between my job now and his job is you don't get into the weeds of the everyday in this job like you do as a coach. You're more of the 10,000-foot view and how it's all going to fit together and thinking about what's next. But I just got a great respect for his motor. He brings it every day.
Yeah, set it and forget it, and not forget it as in like don't think about it for you, but it is like rotisserie chicken. Let's just put that thing in there.
Yep.
And then Mazzulla's the one.
Yep.
He's the one that's spinning the chicken. You guys are a great tag team. It's been fun to watch. So incredibly dominant. Go ahead, AJ.
Coach, why do you think in professional sports it's so tough to have sustained success? Pat and I talk about it all the time, like what the Patriots did, what it seems like the Chiefs are in the middle of right now in the NFL, what you guys are hopefully going on. Like, what's the plan, and how do you continue to kind of like push the envelope and continue to get better?
Well, I've been really fortunate. Studied a lot of football, AJ, and my time at Butler when I was in Indianapolis, the sustained success of the Colts.
Hell yeah.
Through the Peyton Manning years, and then in transitioning to Andrew and all the great players on offense and defense that you
and
played with.
Special teams, Brad, and special teams. Yeah.
I counted you as defense for some of those tackles.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's actually, I actually wore.
I played defense.
Yeah, I actually wore defensive jersey at practice. So hey, Brad, this guy did study.
He knows ball.
This guy knows ball. Yeah, sorry about that. That's
my bad. And then I move out here, and you're right in the middle of the Patriots dynasty, and
real one.
The quarterback room when I went and sat down with those guys were, it's Brady and Garoppolo and Brissett and Josh, and you have all these future head coaches walking all over that building, and Bill is obviously, the most amazing resource you could ever have here, and so you learn a lot from those people. And I think what we've been fortunate with in our long run of playoffs is that we had a chance to be good, and at the same time had a couple of other picks that we were able to, that we knew were there, right? And Danny just had to get them right, and boy did he ever. And so when you get in back-to-back years, Jaylen and Jayson, then you have a head start on being sustainably good. And then it's about, we've had different iterations of our team as they were growing and going from 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds with a little bit less responsibility to kind of carrying the torch for us. But it's about finding the people that fit best around them, how we can accentuate them. I think of like how, the receivers that the Colts could put out there for Peyton, or the receivers or the running backs that the Pats could put out there for Brady. Like, that's what you're just trying to do. That's the way you're thinking about it.
Let's talk about Tatum and Brown. Obviously, it was a big piece of conversation in the sports media world. Is Tatum doing enough, or is this Brown's team? I'll tell you what, if I'm Brown, I'm thinking to myself, why is Tatum still on the marquee with me? Like, there is a lot of that from the outside, right? That was, they didn't talk about your team. I don't know how much you paid attention. You can't pay attention. You got to do your thing. Nobody really talked about your team. Now, granted, Connor was screaming for a long time.
Trying to.
Anytime we brought up basketball, because he is obviously a massive fan of yours. He was an absolute asshole walking in here the other day after you guys won. So thank you for creating another championship for this guy to celebrate. But they've been trying to drive a wedge between those two, seemingly, since you guys became uber successful. Why do you think those two get along so well? Why do you think those two are going to continue to be pillars for you? And how do you maintain this? Like, I don't want to say, oh, something just happened.
Yeah, that was neat.
Yeah, it was sweet. Something just happened right behind you. It was pretty cool. But why do you think they are that way? And is this possible forever, I guess, with the way these two operate?
we're so far into the tax, we're saving money on my lights in my office.
You got to pay one of those guys. Yeah, you got to pay one of those guys. Yep.
If I don't move for 5 minutes, the lights automatically go out. You know what?
Saving the world.
This all starts, Pat, with the character of the two people. And at the end of the day, these guys are workers, great teammates, awesome players, but competitors. And it's funny because now that you win it, all the narrative is man, they're way ahead of schedule when you look at their age versus what they've accomplished versus the rest of the league. And they were ahead of schedule the whole time. And that's, again, why we've been fortunate enough to kind of build around them. They're the kind of teammates you want to have on your team. They're the kind of teammates you want to build around. And we ask them to do a lot. They're not, when you think about it, a lot of times scoring and the ability to put the ball in the basket gets all the attention. And, Jaylen Brown is picking up Luka full court. Jayson Tatum in our last 3 series guards the center so we can switch all the center pick and rolls on Luka and Kyrie. And he's got the size, strength, and ability to communicate and direct the defense from behind to do it. And those are the types of things that winners do. And so we don't have time for all of the talk about, breaking apart. We're too busy trying to work together to win. And those two guys have to lead the way in that. They'll continue to lead the way in that. And that's just who they are. Their families are amazing. They're amazing. And we're lucky they're Celtics.
Yeah, hell yeah. I loved your answer. That's the way winners operate. A lot of losers saying a lot of things, it seems like. Winners are operating in this particular fashion. I think everybody in Boston loves the way you and your team operate as a whole. Speaking of masshole, Connor has a question for you, Brad.
Yeah, Mr. President, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for Boston, of course, as both a coach and now, the president of basketball operations. But, going forward here, one's nice. I'm gonna hold on to this one for a while, but like Joe said, there's room up in these rafters. There's room on this desk for a couple more, maybe 3 or 4. So something to think about. But as you do kind of prepare and transition into the next season, and I think you said the night of the championship, like, hey, we got draft workouts tomorrow. So I'm pretty jacked up about that. But how often during the season and obviously now are you trying to kind of pick and place other guys in spots that we may need? And are you worried about the potential that when you start calling teams, they're going to pick up and say, go to hell and hang up because they know if they trade with you that the Celtics are going to continue to dominate?
Oh, you're talking about Drew Holiday.
Yeah, Drew Holiday. I mean, you could argue Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis. It kind of happened to Danny Ainge, actually, right before you took over, where people were like, hey, if Danny Ainge calls, you tell that son of a bitch to go to hell because he's making a bad deal for you. Are you worried about that, Mr. President?
I'm not, because every trade we've done, I think, has been good for the other team. They were all in different ages and phases and trying to maximize assets and those type of things. And so, listen, we haven't had a first round pick yet in the 3 years I've been here. Tomorrow we have number 30 for now. And so, we'll see what happens. But I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of smart people around the league, and there's a lot of teams that are looking at whatever window they're in with regard to building or trying to maximize it right now. And we certainly, again, when we got Jayson and Jaylen, we've got to find the right people to build around them. And so from my standpoint, our job, and I think I don't have all the expertise that a lot of these front office people do around the league or even in our building. My only background is in coaching and how teams function together. So we try to make it as easy for a team to complement one another, to bring out the best in one another, and for the coaches to have a group that you can easily create roles and role definition around. And I think that's kind of what we try to do. And yes, you're always thinking about it. And tomorrow, whoever we draft, wherever we draft, in the next couple of days, I think that we're just going to try to keep adding people that are really good people, that are interested in competing, and that are ready for the responsibility of wearing this uniform, which is not normal. It is a real responsibility when you play for the Boston Celtics, and it hits you pretty quick.
Most championships in the history of the NBA that happened this year: 18, passing the Lakers. 17, congratulations. When you talk about the pressure of being a Celtic, and you said you got 30 for now, and then you said wherever we pick tomorrow or the next couple of days, and with all the money, you got a lot of money out there. More money on the way, from what I've been told.
Yeah, that's right.
You got a lot of money, and I don't know how your NBA salary cap works. Feels like you guys just pay. Like, yeah, we'll just pay luxury tax, whatever we need, we can do it. And you guys, obviously, you're in a standpoint where you got incredible players. But I would assume being able to draft somebody who's potentially young and cheap would be great addition to a team that has a lot of money. Is that how you're viewing it? And whenever I should know this. I should have done more research before this conversation. You're trying to move up in the draft from 30. I don't want to give away your entire leverage, but you're obviously trying to move. Is that a known
I
story?
would say there are certain scenarios where maybe we look at moving up, and there are certain scenarios where maybe we look at moving back.
Nice.
You know, the way that the draft works in basketball is all of the salaries are slotted in the first round. So it's slotted 1 through 30, exactly what those, contracts will look like really over the course of 4 years. And then in the second round, you can be a little bit more creative with contracts. But, and even to the point where, later in the second round, there's a lot of people that will be drafted that in the past will either continue to play overseas for a while or, will be on two-way contracts in the G League. So there's all kinds of things that we could do on draft night. But, if the right person's there and we feel like they'll come in and help and it's somebody we can invest in, then, we're looking forward to making that pick. And if not, then we'll think and obviously talk to everybody in the league about moving around. That it's going to be it's fun. I mean, if we get everybody back and we hope, that we look pretty similar to last year, barring any health issues, then, it's going to be hard for whoever we draft to crack the rotation. But we've got to start. We've got to continue to build and grow some of these young guys so that when we do have to transition, we can do so while, again, trying to be sustainable.
I didn't even know there was more than 30 guys getting drafted, right? And it's that one French guy?
Yeah, Sarr.
Sarr.
And then there's another
and
French
Bronny.
guy.
And Bronny.
Bronny.
They're the only two eligible guys.
Yeah, I thought that was literally the only two, Brad. So congrats on one of them. I guess.
Congrats.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
One of those guys going to the Celtics. He's going to do it. He's drafting somebody. I didn't know there was anybody else to get drafted.
Somebody from Purdue, perhaps.
Oh, big tall guy.
Yeah, big son, big.
Whoa.
Look out.
Indiana.
Hey, he can move too. You saw him. He got in great shape for his last year here. He's moving around. He's got good moxie too.
Did you jump on the Purdue bandwagon when they went to the final this year?
Yeah.
That was sweet, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Coach, I will hop on a bandwagon if we're gonna have a good time. I'm here for it. We can boil her up if we have to. And Butler, I was, let's go Bulldogs whenever you guys.
Good. Need to get over there to some games. No, it was so much fun to see Paint and that Purdue team go to the final. They ran into a juggernaut, but
Damn right.
I was really happy for Coach Painter. He's one of the best.
Okay, Coach Painter, obviously awesome guy, and there was a lot of doubts about the Purdue team ever getting over the hump, so them making it to the finals is obviously a huge convo. Taking on Dan Hurley and the Huskies. Okay, do you pay attention to all the shit that's happening around the NBA? I guess you would have to in President Basketball Ops. Dan Hurley right in your backyard, seemingly there at UConn in the area. Is there a thought of like, because Joe Mazzulla, young, he coached in college, I think, and then he's assisting with you guys, and then bang, he becomes head coach. Dan Hurley was potentially going to be the coach of the Lakers. JJ Redick, now the coach of the Lakers. Like, whenever you have Joe Mazzulla, is there like certain traits you're looking for in these young guys? And are you scouting all of these people that are potentially coaches or players because you never know what's going to happen in the future while it's taking place?
Yeah, I don't think that I actually go into gyms thinking about it in terms of scouting. But I leave practices, incredibly impressed a lot. And one of the things I really enjoy about my new job is going to college practices and watching different people work. And that could be the head coaches, the assistant coaches running the offense or defense, whatever the case may be. With Joe in particular, we had Joe in Maine on our G League staff in I believe 2014 or 2015, but after he left, I used to do a round table where we'd bring in coaches from across the country in the summer so I could learn. It was pretty selfish, right? I wanted to bring people in to talk and learn, and I would steal things or plays or defensive drills or whatever the case may be. But it also became something where we tried to have a couple of speakers a year that were these kind of young coaches that you needed to keep an eye on. And Joe actually was one of our speakers, I think in 18 or 19, and And then we hired him. I think it must have been in 18 because we hired him in 1920, and he's been with us ever since. But yeah, you got to keep your eyes open, and Danny obviously is a great coach, and great coaching is not monopolized at any level. There are great coaches in the youth basketball area. There's great coaches in high school and middle school and college, and you got to keep your eyes open. And certainly if Danny ever wants to make that transition, I think he'll do that well.
Hey, there's a fourth grade basketball team that had J.J. Redick coaching it, though.
Yeah.
Before he got up here to the NBA, and they were
good.
Splash.
They can shoot the rock.
Yeah, these fourth graders were traveling a bit. I think there was a little bit of travel, but that's going to happen. But they are shooting a rock. Don't want to give things away, but I think the Lakers, they're going to be running like that fourth grade team.
Yeah.
You talk about the Celtics and obviously the weight of the logo being on your jersey. It also happens, I assume, to everybody. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Coach, how jarring was that when you first leave Butler and you go from just being like the lovable Cinderella, and obviously everyone knows fans in Indiana are basketball crazed, but kind of just affable people in general, and everyone wanted to see you guys win. And then you go to the Celtics where, let's just say, people on the East Coast maybe have a little bit more hard edge, and like the expectation is, hey, you're going to win. You're coaching now for not just one of the most historic teams in the NBA, but in all of sports. How jarring was that jump from just like, hey, we're just kind of happy to be here in the Final Four to like, okay, that's great, Coach. Like, go win a title now. And how long did it kind of take for you to kind of get used to that and just like that entire culture change of going from Butler to the Celtics?
Well, one of the things that really drew me to the Celtics was that Danny and the ownership group had always really stuck by coaches, and really like they were patient with the process and they understood that they weren't going to ride the roller coaster of an 82 games, even in this market where, obviously people always will have an opinion and, are enormous fans. But I think that one of the things that, and I've said this before, I don't know why this is the case. And maybe it was because when I was coaching at Butler, I was, between 30 and 36. And maybe it was just my age, but coaching in your hometown where you went to high school, basically where you went to college and then where you've worked your whole professional life, that's a pressure too. And in moving out here, the responsibility of putting on the Celtics jersey and having was an intriguing part of doing it. And at the same time, I think that the pressure of coaching in your hometown really prepared me well. There have been so many, pinch yourself moments as a member of the Celtics organization. In 2013, when I became the head coach, we had just traded Pearson Garnett. We weren't expected to be very good, at least in that first year, and we got better soon thereafter. But that first year was tough. But you knew the weight of the jersey when Tommy Heinsohn would stop by practice, when Satch Sanders would come by, John Havlicek, would come off the Cape before he headed down to Florida and would swing by. And, Bill Russell was at the first game I coached. These are like as a kid from Indiana who grew up only about basketball, those are like incredible moments. But also you talk about imposter syndrome. You're like, man, I really don't belong here. I didn't think I was good enough to be the coach at Butler. There's no way in hell I'm good enough to be the coach here. But those are moments that I'll never forget. And I think our guys embrace that. Like Tatum knows that, and Brown they know the responsibility that they have in being the Celtics that everybody looks towards. And I think they've always done a great job with that.
How old? You were 37?
I think I was 36 when I moved here. But it was hard to leave there, man. It was hard to leave there.
No, but I'm saying you looking in the mirror as a 36-year-old, you got Bill Russell, you look up in there, 17 banners.
Check.
Okay, so this is my team, and we're getting rid of
all of our players are gone.
Yeah, see, they're going to be out.
One thing I will tell you very certainly, I have never once thought or said, this is my team. As Connor knows, this is Boston's team.
Hell yeah.
It'll be great it was great before we got here. It'll be great long after we're here. But man, it's pretty cool to be a part of.
You're a holder of a seat. I appreciate the fact that you acknowledge that, especially with where you guys are now, because the past is littered with Hall of Famers. Go ahead, D-Butt.
Absolutely, and it pains me to say this as a Heat fan, but congratulations on
Hey, congratulations.
18. Congratulations on 18. And a lot of things that come with greatness. Obviously, as a Heat fan, I'm going to look for some potential problems down the road. Possibly, you've been a former coach, former player. You know how important jersey numbers are. With you guys having so many damn jersey numbers retired and chipped, Brown and Tatum may be the next two. Has those conversations ever come up in free agents or trade talks with players, like wanting a certain number, because you know how important those are to players?
I mean, it's hilarious when we get guys sign a minimum contract or get traded here in the middle of the season. It's like, hey, you got like 6 numbers to choose from, and none of them are traditional numbers, and it's, we're gonna, my goal, Barry, is let's be good enough for long enough that we don't have enough left. Let's just get them all up there and make it all so special. But I see the Florida Panthers jersey.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations to you. That was a night, huh?
Hell yeah. Great night.
There you go.
First one. 17 more.
Tatum and Kachuk, Chaminade High School in St. Louis.
Hell yeah.
Pretty good class a few years ago.
How'd you feel about the boys heading down to Miami immediately after winning? Flight is at noon to Miami. How'd you feel about that?
I got the old, hey, you want to go? I said, nope, I'm good. Pat, I am an Indiana guy that has grown to love the Northeast. I'm good.
Hey, our type of Caucasian skin burns quick down there in Miami.
Quick.
Yeah. Smart decision. Because you had that parade right around. Hey, man, that parade was epic. I assume you guys knew that while you were in the middle of it. You were looking around going, holy shit, this has got to be one of the greatest parades of all time. It was awesome.
Man, I'll tell you, we turned the corner onto Causeway Street. We were underneath the Garden, and we come up the ramp and turn the corner onto Causeway Street. And to see the mass of people, to see people, every walk of life, every age, all wearing Celtics gear, all smiling, all happy, all together, and think about all the world's been through in the last 5 years. Just to see that was super special. To see them all wearing Celtics gear and celebrating this team. That of all the things, I think winning it had, you move on to the next day, you try to get better, you try to do it again, whatever. But man, that parade will be maybe the most memorable part of the experience for me. It was unbelievable.
Sports are amazing. There's nothing else on earth except for, I guess, Taylor Swift. If Taylor Swift comes to town, you could have one of these moments where
my daughter would agree with that.
Yeah. My wife. I mean, literally everybody that we know. But whenever those parades happen, it is like a celebration of a city. Like, look what we did. It's a beautiful thing. Can't wait to see how South Florida does.
Sunday.
Florida Panthers. You got to follow Boston.
Okay.
Yeah, good luck.
A1A. We'll have the beach in the background.
Oh,
A1A,
smart.
It'll be beautiful.
Yeah, of course.
Have you found the ring though? Has Jaylen Brown found his pinky ring or?
Yeah, Coach, how we figuring
Yeah,
it out?
I can't keep track of everything.
AJ's got the last question for you here, Brad.
Coach, when you look at your roster, you guys have a great mix, I think. Obviously, some vets giving you huge minutes and huge plays for you, Horford and Holiday and everyone else. Like, when you're putting a roster together, how important is it to have not only vets that are playing, but also some vets, that maybe don't get as much time, just to kind of help the young guys along and kind of teach people what it means to be a pro?
Yeah, I think the right vets, AJ, are really important. And I think, I'm 47 now, so the older we get, the more self-awareness we gain. And I think, kind of how you fit, what's important, what really matters, being a part of a team, being able to communicate that, I'm willing to give a little bit for the benefit of the team. I think if you look at 30-plus-year-olds in the league, you'd be hard-pressed to find any people better to lead a group than Al Horford and Drew Holiday. Incredible players, but just totally selfless, willing to do whatever it takes, play both ends of the floor, and I think are great role models for not only our players, but our G League affiliates and really every other kid that wants to aspire to be a part of a team and be part of something bigger than themselves. And so, that to me is what a vet can bring to the table. It's it's not always easy as people transition to later on in their career to not have the same individual responsibility that they once had. And so some guys struggle to let go of that. And we're just lucky that our guys still do it at a high level, and they're also willing to give. That sets a tone.
Don't you think Drew Holiday was way too old to be playing the defense that he was playing, more specifically against like the Pacers?
What?
That he was playing
The Mavs.
right here in India.
Hey,
What?
the Pacers were really good.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
No, listen, I said today we could have come back to Boston down 3-1.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we were there.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah, we were there, Rad.
They had a heck of a team. I thought Drew was unbelievable the whole playoffs, but that game 3 where he had the and one on Siakam and then took the ball in transition, I think it was from Nemhard at the end.
Yep. Happy you have a great memory, dude. All right, happy you have that's really good news. That should serve you well.
Hey, I was a kid. It was nothing. I was the most excited person on our whole travel party that we were going to play Saturday night race weekend and then play game 4 Monday. That was when I was a kid. It was Pacers, Knicks, race weekend, Eastern Conference Finals, and those were like the best weekends of, ever. So it was cool to be on the other side
and ruin it. Ruin it. Yeah, trying to ruin it. Yeah, you did great. Thanks. Yeah, we appreciate it. Hey, congratulations on all the success. Obviously, everybody here in Indiana loves you, is incredibly proud of you, and hopefully next year you guys lose to the Pacers. All right, we appreciate you so much, man. Good luck the rest of the way. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's 88 over here.